now, finally.
Finally.
Hey, folks, I'm Dave, smartass of Scott, and we are here to do a Russian movie, an animated movie called The Snow Queen from 1957. The original title, I'm not even going to try to pronounce because
Right.
it's some Slavic, some Russian word. I had family members with Slavic names I couldn't pronounce, but the director was Lev Atamanov. Atamanov? Probably
Uh,
Atamanov. Writers were Georgy Grebner, Lev Atamanov, and Nikolai Erdman. The original voice actors, some of them, were Vladimir Grivkov, Yanina Zhayamov, and Anna Kamalova. Now, I don't see any names on here for the American voiceover artists, but this movie follows a little girl who loses her little friend to the Snow Queen, the Ice
well,
Queen.
this is an adaptation from Hans Christian Andersen's Snow
Thank you.
Queen.
That's what I was looking for.
And folks, when you go watch this, you'll be reminded of Disney's Frozen,
Yep.
because Frozen is another adaptation of this story. And I'm watching this and I'm like, this feels like Frozen. This is Frozen. This is Frozen. And then I see the reindeer. Oh yeah, we're doing Frozen. And then I looked it up. Oh, it is. It's where they got their inspiration and they wrote it from this story. So I thought that was really cool.
I personally, watching this and looking at the animation, I would put this Soviet era animation up against anything Disney of the same time period. That's how I felt.
It definitely had the feel of it. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about the animation. I love the design of the Snow Queen.
Oh man,
I really didn't like the other characters' faces. Some of the faces were that, like the kids, Gerda and Kay. But overall, the animal design, the movement, the fluidity of the animation, and when you told me earlier about Miyazaki,
right,
I all of a sudden see Miyazaki's work through this film, meaning I see how he was influenced by this film.
And the story that I was telling Scott, for anybody out there, is evidently Miyazaki was at a low point in 57, 58, whenever he saw this movie. He's going to quit animation. He just, for whatever reason, he didn't feel like he was doing anything. He couldn't figure out his niche, whatever it was. And he saw the Snow Queen from the Soviet Union. We owe the Soviets Miyazaki staying in.
How about that?
Because maybe without him seeing this movie, he would have quit animation and we wouldn't have any of the magical movies that he's created, and none of them. How crazy is that? That's how good this movie is for me. And you were talking about the characters of like the kids and the villains and stuff. If you look at the old Fleischer cartoons, the old Popeye Fleischer cartoons, the old Superman cartoons from Fleischer era.
Yes, I saw some.
That's where they got those designs from. And what I think was really cool is the more realistic Snow Queen and the realistic animals against these other characters of humanity.
You know what?
They were doing something on a completely different level. I don't think it was because they were lazy or they didn't do the designs are great. If you look at those designs, you're like, shit, that's a Fleischer move. That's what these guys did. And they did it really well, man. I was just like blown away with this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed this. It's good for kids and a family. We watched the American translation, the dubbed version. And what did you think of that? The dubbing?
Well, that's the version I watched. I started to watch in Russian and I just did not have the attention to handle the subtitles. I usually will watch in the original language, except usually when it comes to animation, I'm good because the lip sync's never quite right anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. So I go for English. I enjoyed the story. Like I said earlier, it's like them. It feels like Frozen. It is a good story. a good adaptation. This is short. This is about an hour long,
Yeah,
and
not very
yeah,
long.
it's very very short, and it feels that way at the end. The climax comes very fast, and it
Yeah.
wraps very quickly. That is going to be my only complaint about the movie. I really
Uh-huh.
enjoyed looking at it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
listen to that.
Visually,
That's
it's
what
beautiful.
I enjoyed that bit of just looking at the movie. You
Yeah.
know, it's like
There's
it.
this that one scene where they're coming in towards the end, three-quarters of the way through, maybe. They're coming into the Snow Queen's castle,
Mhm.
and they're coming down this big tunnel or something. And that thing's layered just like a Disney film.
Yeah.
That thing had to have at least 8 or 12 layers.
Oh
And then you
yeah.
got to the Queen, and then you had several other layers to give it really that popping out 3D effect.
They really did a good job on that,
Oh
man.
man, that was gorgeous. That was freaking gorgeous.
And
And I'm
and
telling
that's
you, that little girl, if that was my friend, sorry, you're staying with the Snow Queen. And she worked her ass off to get that kid.
there's a lot of messages here.
Oh
There's a
yeah, yeah,
lot of these are the fairy tales. There's a morality lesson here.
yep,
There's
yep,
a lesson of love triumphing over all.
yep.
And this is like I said, if you've seen Frozen, you don't know this story,
Right,
but
right.
you see the inspiration and the theme of love.
Mhm.
And Disney does a great job on their adaptation.
Yeah.
This this one is I like the Disney and animation from this era mainly
Hmm.
because the content, how do I word this? They're not as rated G. They're more
Yeah,
gritty.
yeah.
They're a little more real, but this is what we saw as kids.
They
But
didn't
would have
block. They didn't block everything from little kids
thank
back then.
you. I guess is what I'm saying. It was still rated G, but there was stuff that you wouldn't see in a rated G today.
Right.
And it's like, you know, they have that. I guess maybe because it harkens back to my childhood and
Mhm.
stuff I
Yeah.
remember, and I have that nostalgia for it, and just the animation style. It that one the fat royal kid.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
he reminded
Right.
me of the fat character, and it might have been in a Bugs Bunny or whatever. The baby with
They grew
the
above.
yes, yes, the big yeah. That's what he reminded
Yeah.
me of, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
my god. But yeah,
This
fun movie.
this surprised me, and I think the biggest reason how you're referring to this is it wasn't written down to kids. It wasn't
There you
dumbed
go.
down. They
That
they
thank
took the
you.
Hans Christian Andersen story and just wrote a good story. They cut it out. The guy said that they cut it out quite a bit to make it fit a nice animation because they could have
Mhm.
fit that the story's pretty big and it's
Oh
got a
yeah.
lot more juice or a lot more meat to it. But they gave you the basic Hans Christian Andersen story. It being Russian, I was really expecting a sad ending. I
Mhm.
was really like, I just figured the Russians are going to be like, I'm going to smoke my cigarette and wear my black hat and wear my black jacket that is making me still cold, even in the summertime of winter. They didn't do that. It was dead on a good
Well,
ending.
let me ask you something since you just said that, and this is just a curiosity thing. I
Uh,
haven't consumed more than just a handful of Russian movies.
mhm.
Um, but I didn't. Is that usually a theme in Russian media to go dark and sad?
I know in Russian stories, that's why I had to stop reading so many Russian stories because as a young guy, I used to read a lot more than I do now. And I do
You and
remember
me
reading
both.
several Russian novels, and a couple of them I couldn't even get through. I was just like, oh my God,
Oh.
it's all suffering. It's all Jesus. I'm gonna go commit suicide.
Well, I mean, look where they come from.
It's
Look, I mean,
great for
that's
emos
yeah,
though. I mean,
yeah. Oh,
man, you
yeah.
love
There was a
reading
time I would
Russian
have been
novels.
all in it. Yeah. So
But I
yeah.
did find a couple of Russian movie. I can send you the link that maybe we can watch sometime in the summertime that are Russian movies on YouTube.
Very cool.
I I don't know whether they're dubbed. I'm not sure. But even if they're not, I'm gonna watch them because a couple of them look like comedies and they look like World War II era comedies.
Oh,
So
geez.
I'm really interested like what did the Russians back during World War II find funny? Or maybe the mid to late 60s.
That'd be neat to see. I
kind of
mean,
where they
let's see.
fall. And they look like one looks like a romantic little girl on a boat somewhere, and the other one is a military, which still looks like a military comedy, like guys in the army doing stupid army stuff. And I'm like, they they joked about that because that's not what we heard growing up. That's not what you're hearing now. They don't have a sense of humor, they're blah blah blah. And I'm like, some Russian stuff that I've seen on TV is freaking hysterical. Well,
Oh
on
yeah,
YouTube is
yeah.
freaking hysterical. And
Yeah.
I'm like, how does any let's talk about that. I don't want to talk about anything else. I want to talk about these movies because they look great. They actually look pretty funny.
Yeah.
So I'm interested. Maybe
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
do a couple of those because it's just like
Absolutely.
not what I
Well,
grew up hearing. Let me put it that way.
well, no, and I believe that. I believe that. I've watched a lot of Korean cinema, and
God, I love Korean soap operas.
now I haven't seen Korean soap operas, but I need to. I'm down to check something out. But yeah, I like a lot of Korean horror,
Oh
but
yeah. Oh Lord. God, that's terrifying.
it's great though. I mean, we did Train to Busan. I think this past year or at one point. But and like that movie, there's so much that you can glean from
Mhm.
Korean society by watching the movie and
Yeah.
seeing how everything's portrayed. You start to see where their humor is, where they're how they feel about things and
Right,
how
right.
each other. And it's pretty wild. I'm all that folks don't limit yourself to just movies that are in English and made in the US. Um,
Exactly.
expand and watch things from everywhere because
Es-
you can see a lot about places, man.
Especially now with the last 8 to 10, maybe 15 years of what Hollywood has done,
Hmm.
being really,
Yeah.
what Hollywood's done to movies. If you don't, then you're either
You haven't
lying
been
or
watching
you're
any.
part of the problem. So if you don't like any of those movies, start looking at some of the foreign movies that were being made in the same time period.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those are really good because they take all the crap that Hollywood was putting in movies and they just throw it out because that's not part of the story. That has nothing to do with these characters or whatever they're trying to do. It's either just a kick-ass adventure or a comedy or a romance, and that's it. That's what they're telling you. And I'm like, man, I miss Hollywood.
Well,
Good
yeah.
Hollywood
When
from the
everything
80s.
wasn't such and such focus group needs
Yeah,
this. Oh, bite me. Let's have
yeah,
a movie and
exactly.
make it. And that's
That's
that's we're gonna
pity.
see much more independent cinema breaking through. And a
Mhm.
lot of the trailers that I've been watching lately are lower budget. I mean, they're still big
Right.
budget movies, but they're not these giant blockbusters, and they're not from the major studios. And
Yeah.
they're starting to get a 70s gritty return vibe,
Mhm.
and it's
They
like, oh
need to.
please bring us more. So
Well,
that's
you can't spend two, three, 400, $500 million on a movie. And that's probably not even including all the big name actors that you're putting in a movie and then expect to make your money back. The
it's
reason Hollywood
ridiculous.
got really big is because they do one or two big movies and a whole bunch of really small movies. All the small movies made the money. The big movie would be a blockbuster like your Jaws or Star
Yeah,
Wars. But then everybody started trying to make a blockbuster instead of just making
there it
movies.
is. There it is. We
In
don't
the
need
80s,
what
they
kind of
didn't
movie
do
are we
that.
going to make? We're going to make a blockbuster. Okay, well
Yeah.
that's a great mentality, but what's that mean?
Yeah. Look at this Doctor Doomsday coming out or Doctor Doom in Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday, whatever.
Oh yeah.
I'm already out. Everybody that goes to see this movie is going to have to, I mean, this movie is going to have to be hammered with nothing but good news from people I trust, like you and a couple other
Well,
guys that we talk
I
about
won't be going to
movies.
see it. I tapped out after Endgame. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
and
done.
Endgame. What killed me in Endgame was that the chick flick set. Whenever they all came down and did their pose, and I'm like, how the hell does she know how to fly the Iron Man costume? But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that was the least of the problems, but it's a valid complaint. There's a lot of valid complaints I know when you're the only person I can talk about my hatred for Endgame without looking like I grew a third head.
There was a lot of cool, good stuff in Endgame, and a whole
Sure.
lot of crap that I just scratched my head like, what?
I was just I'm
Why? But anyway,
you start to see it
back
as a cash grab, and that's what
back
we're talking about. So
yeah, back to foreign films.
sorry.
Man, if you're having problems with movies, look for stuff like that. I found this completely by accident because my algorithm is so weird on Instagram. I'm flicking, and all of a sudden here comes this animated Snow Queen cartoon. And I was looking at it and I watched it, and I instantly sent it to Scott and was like, "We need to do this. This just how do you think? How do you feel about this?" And he was like, "Yep, well, I'm in." So
Oh,
that's why we're here.
and that's just it. I'll watch about anything.
Yeah,
Just about, pretty much,
it's good.
within
It's
reason.
really good, folks. I would have gone to see this at the movies back in 1957.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
definitely, definitely. So, folks, we definitely recommend The Snow Queen. I enjoyed
Yes,
watching this movie. It's not a long watch. It's good for kids to watch. It's
absolutely.
it's got a good message. It's entertaining. I like the little Jiminy Cricket character at the beginning, who's not a
Yeah,
cricket but a little gnome.
I
So
think he's supposed to be the Sandman. I think he
well,
comes
it
crawling
sounded
out of
like
the
because he
book.
had the slumbrella.
Yeah,
So,
and he's got and he's talking about blowing on the back. So it must be like the Russian version of the Sandman. He's
he's
like
talking
when
about
he
what now?
he blows on the back of your neck and you fall asleep. So it's got
Mm-hmm.
to be like a Russian equivalent to this, which I thought was weird, but okay, if it's a Russian thing. They
It
have
must be a Russian
Krampus
thing.
for
Let me
fuck's
blow on the
sake, all
back of your
right?
neck and you do what?
I said they have Krampus for crying out loud.
Oh,
Um,
good old good. We need to bring back Krampus. Kids these days.
they do need to bring back Krampus. Right,
Am I
Mama?
wrong?
No,
And
not wrong at
Killmonger
all.
was right. But anyway, I enjoyed this movie. Definitely check it out. Dave?
Absolutely. I love this movie. I watch it with an eye to being a kid and watching this movie,
Absolutely.
like you
You
would
know,
an old Disney movie.
I recommend that to any younger aimed movie to
Mhm.
remember you were a kid once and what was it you liked. I can pop on
Right.
Robin Hood right now at
Oh
any
yeah.
point in time and I'm going to laugh because my wife is going to sit right next to me and I'm going to hear the whole movie through her mouth. Every
Because
every
she memorized all the lines.
every
I
single
love it.
line and
I
it's
love
like
it.
oh
Love it.
it's awesome, it's awesome. Normally that would bother me but I think it's cute,
Right.
it's
Right.
awesome. It's like oh wow, and
Cat
Robin
and,
Hood is a classic,
Cat
so
and I
yeah.
will do that. We'll sit there and watch a movie and we'll both start reacting to the lines. When we first started dating, I'd watch Star Wars and I would be quoting the lines as I'm watching it, and she would be like, "God, that's annoying." And now, 32 years later, we're watching Star Wars together, and she's throwing out the lines.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Remember how you loved it as a kid and
Right.
how it was an adventure and could whisk you away. And unfortunately, a lot of these older things have to compete with such flash and sound and everything for
Oh
kids to
yeah,
see these
yeah,
days and get their attention. I don't want to say back in my day, but back in my day, this was fancy.
yeah. You
it's,
paid attention. Well, the animation's really good. It
it's
really is.
beautiful. It's
Even on the
beautiful.
character, like the secondary characters,
Yeah.
you're watching this and you're like, "Holy crap, that's really good movement." That's
Oh,
guys
dude, the
were
movement's
animated.
wonderful.
Oh,
Yeah, there's if you look at it with a technical eye, you'll see some great things. And knowing
yeah.
that because of this, it kept Miyazaki, who I consider one of the greatest animators alive or ever,
Mhm.
um,
Yes.
just because
Yes.
his films, I haven't watched one that hasn't touched my heart in some way or another. And
Oh,
that's he has an ability to just tell a tale, and that's we're definitely doing more Miyazaki this coming
oh
year.
yeah. Gotta Miyazaki. Hand applause.
Yep. So anyway, folks, if you like our show, hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, wherever you listen. You can find us, Spotify, Apple, iTunes. Anyway, thanks again, and we will catch you later.